I gave people all the stuff they really needed. Social Security checks, utility bills, TV guide.
I want a TV guidance counselor. TV guidance counselor. Staying up to watch all night, and everything's gonna be alright with my TV guidance counselor.
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Guidance Counselor. I am Ken Reed, as always, your TV Guidance Counselor, and this is the show where each and every week I welcome an interesting person of talent and esteem in my eyes, and we discuss classic television, usually using a back issue of TV Guide magazine from my personal collection as the inspiration for our conversation, and this week is no different. My guest this week is comedian Denise Winkelman, and Denise has a new special out called Bougie on a Budget. You can get it at all the streaming services or all the, Apple, buy it, watch it. Very funny. Denise is super cool. Really enjoyed the special. I think you will too. And I also really enjoyed our chat. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of TV Guidance Counselor with my guest, Denise Winkelman.
TV is my friend, and it has been always there for me in time of need.
Live via satellite from Los Angeles. Denise, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
You're so very welcome. I assume it's sunny there. It is pouring rain here. It's very gothic in the New England area today.
Wow, yes. It's sunny every day here, which is fantastic for the most part.
Because we were talking a little bit before, and you grew up and lived in, places that get snow.
Absolutely. I lived in Minnesota growing up at the northern part of the state.
Oh, the UP?
Yeah, so my dad lives right next to Canada, and if you ever look at the coldest spot in the country in the winter, that's where he lives. And I never visit him anymore.
There was a reality show about that part called Nimrod Nation.
Do not know that, actually.
The Nimrods is a thing, right? It's like the college team or something. It's like the high school basketball team or something in one of the parts in the UP in Minnesota.
Well, it could be Michigan, because UP is more Michigan, but...
Oh, you're right. That's Michigan. I get the M's mixed up.
Because I never heard of the Nimrods, so it can't... Not that I know all the teams, but UP is definitely Michigan.
Okay, that's my mistake for confusing the Midwest M's that are close to Canada.
It's all one thing.
It's a whiteout. It's a whiteout with people and with weather.
Absolutely, and my story in high school was lived in this small town, graduating class of 18, and 18 people. I didn't finish in the top 10, so. But what they did was it was a farming community, so they had to have it like short school years. They wanted as much warm time they could for the kids to farm. So they would we had 3 days in the winter where before wind chill it was 67 degrees below zero as the low. With wind chill it was 92, and they canceled school one day.
That's like your eyelashes freeze together kind of stuff, right? Like
exactly. They said don't show a lot of skin.
And by a lot we mean any, because that you won't have that anymore.
Exactly. You want your eyes frozen off, you just cover those.
And you glossed over it a little bit when you said for the farming, but really they've built the school year around child labor.
Exactly. You have kids in Minnesota, in farming communities to be able to farm.
Yeah, I used to joke on stage that the only time I regret not having children is when I'm shoveling snow, and I imagine it's a similar kind of thing for farmers.
Exactly. You gotta have good, healthy breeding.
Up in Maine, they still 2 weeks every year they have off so kids can harvest potatoes.
We're going to fluff it up with a pretty name, but that's really what the job is.
Yeah. We're harvesting potatoes. It's fun. So you picked an issue here from 96. We're in March 2nd to the 8th, 1996. What was it about this one that appealed to you?
Well, this was the year I graduated from high school, so I thought I would know about it. But again, graduating class of 18. So I didn't live on a farm. So I had a lot of time to watch TV. So brought back some memories.
Did you have cable?
So in '96, this part of '96, I did not. We didn't get cable until we moved to a bigger town. When I graduated, my dad decided to quit his little small business and become a full-time pastor in an evangelical church. I did survive, so thank you.
I can confirm, everybody.
Yes, I have no marks on me that I can. But at that point, we got cable. And the best part about getting cable at that time was being able to watch professional wrestling again.
Yeah, because it was pretty much moved to like USA Network, TNT. It was almost exclusively cable by the mid to late 90s.
It was. Monday Night Raw and then WCW, that was the big thing. So I was a big wrestling fan, but I was trying to keep up with what was going on. So I would get the little insider dirt sheets, and then I would rent videos to try to keep up from our local small town video store that would get like one WrestleMania every couple of years. And I'm like... The Ultimate Warrior is good now. What happened?
I missed a whole. Yeah, those wrestling magazines. We had when I was about 11 or 12, the early 90s. I worked at our local cable access station because I was really cool, and there was a wrestling show that was like the main show. It wasn't my show, but that was like the big show on the channel. So I like absorbed through osmosis a lot of the wrestling culture of that time. And those wrestling magazines, they were like. They weren't sleazy, but they felt sleazy. Like they were like newsprint and really low rent and like gross pictures.
It was like almost like a classified in the back of the grit, or something. But it was weird because I didn't really. I was like, there's wrestling outside of the United States, and that's really cool. So I used to just like walk through the stores and, flip through the magazines and see what they had ranked as their top 10 wrestlers and be like, oh, that's so cool. Like so-and-so was doing something that was cool. But what I got really into wrestling and when the internet kind of kicked and WCW, Monday Night Wars, all that cool stuff. But I got really into like the internet, like heel marks and stuff like that, where I was like, this is my community. And so it made me want to become a wrestler, which I did for 5 years.
Because and I've had a lot of guests on who are super into wrestling, and it's odd. There's an odd, I guess it's not that odd, but there's an overlap of people who started doing stand-up who were really into wrestling.
Yes.
There's like a large amount of people. And oddly, Star Trek The Next Generation. For some reason, the two things seem to go hand in hand. I don't know why.
I'm all about the wrestling. Well, I used to be about the wrestling, but definitely never got into Star Trek.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so this is good. See, that makes more sense to me. So where did you first, you just saw it on like your local UHF station when you were growing up, or were there still, it was mostly WWF when we were, because we're of similar age. I imagine you didn't have like a local wrestling organization.
Yeah, we didn't up there. It turns out like wrestling was big, but I'm like young enough where AWA was still a thing, but it really wasn't a thing. All the stars had already went to WWF at the time. And so I remember the first wrestling event I ever watched was WWE WWF Superstars, and it was like Shawn Michaels kicking Jannetty through the plate glass window.
Okay.
And it was like, that's cool, man. Like, I got to see more of that.
I remember I love, as most kids of our generation, I loved like Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling, like mid 80s, like the very cartoonish Cyndi Lauper wrestling. And so I was like, to my dad, I was like, I want to go see some wrestling. So he took me to like a weird local wrestling. This was like full on carnies. Like these people had been doing it for like 40 years. This was not, there was literally at the time called midget wrestling. There were like there was like people wrestling animal. Like it was bizarre. And I was like, this is not what I expected.
You could, I mean, local indie wrestling anywhere, like you can see some weird stuff. I wrestled first in Cincinnati and Kentucky, and keeping the integrity of local wrestling where people would still believe it, like that was a big deal at the time. And I remember like me and my buddies, like we all drove up from Cincinnati to this town in Kentucky, middle of nowhere, just a bar, gas station, restaurant, where they would have 200 people every Sunday night from the hills of Kentucky. And it's exactly what you think of the worst stereotypes you can.
It's the hill people.
But it's worse. And
It's the hills have eyes people.
yeah, there was a good guy door and a bad guy door, and if you walked out the wrong one, you were in a lot of trouble. And
What was your gimmick?
so at the time, it was the mad scientist of wrestling.
Oh, I love that.
Dr. Melvin Winkelman. So I would bounce around like an idiot. I kind of viewed it as my Mick Foley, where
Okay.
I would, Mankind or whatever, where I didn't really relate to the character, but I read his book. And so I just tried to find, things that, kind of were similar and, kind of this intensity. And I always loved stand-up or loved like when people would be really cool, really intense, but they would say really funny things. So I would yell at somebody and be like, yeah, and I'm going to, you know what, I'm going to whip up a potion in my basement and I'm going to turn you into Billy Goat. And, things like that.
So like playing it very, very straight, like the like not hamming it up.
Oh,
Awfully.
no.
Yeah.
It was over the top, and I would do ridiculous sells all the time. But I would always sell, and my favorite. I was doing this thing where I had this group around me, like this pretty valet and this tag team partner who would just talk smack, and we were really good talkers, and so we do like a mad scientist experiment. We would do all this crazy stuff, but I used to say I was a liaison to the School of Mad Scientistry in Vermont.
Because who's going to check?
Yeah, who's going to? And it just seems like something Vermont would have. And my tag team partner, Dr. Midler, was going to be a professor. I was a special liaison to the school, and I was recruiting a professor. So,
What was your finisher? Did you have a special finisher move?
yeah, I would do the. I think it was a gold dust curtain call where you would pick them up and then slam them down, kind of thing, like an inverted DDT. So I would do that, and but some of the guys got to be really fat, and it became kind of an issue because
It's hazardous.
yeah, it's hazardous. I was like, lose some weight, man.
No matter how much you lift with your knees, there's a limit.
I mean, you can jump into this,
Yeah, you could help me out here. Were you into like horror movies and like mad scientist stuff or like sci-fi and that kind of thing, or it just kind of came to you out of nowhere?
So the way it came to me, I did not come up with the gimmick. I was new, and I'm always quiet when I'm new at something because I thought the wrestlers were the coolest people in the world. Just like I thought the comedians were the coolest people in the world.
That's not true.
And then I met all of them, and it's like, now I can do this. But the training school I went to, they produced some really good people. They had right before us was like Wildcat Chris Harris, the Monster Abyss trained there, and then at the time HWA in Cincinnati, they had like John Moxley, like Pepper Parks, who's now the Blade in AEW. They were all in town, so we started doing some cross promotional stuff and like an invasion gimmick, kind of thing. So it was cool. And then Carl Anderson, now his name was Chad Allegra at the time. He was like the big star in that area. So he was training at the same place. And so we were buddies, and one day he goes, listen, this promo class is boring. Could you just do a mad scientist thing and just pop the boys? And I was like, yeah. heck yeah, I can do that. And so I did it, and I did it so well that I got stuck with it.
Because it's basically an improv class that you also bounce around and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like they give you a promo, you're just supposed to improv with it and kind of go with it off the top of your head, which I always hated. I like to think my stuff out a little bit, and now I'm much better at improv. But at the time, I was just like, okay, let's do that. And the guy threw something at it. And what's funny is they had me do it on a show. They liked it, so they kept me doing it. The first name wasn't Winkelman; it was Socrates, Dr. Melvin Socrates. And so, but then they go, "Well, your last name is much creepier. Let's just keep that."
They're like, "We find the Greeks not that scary."
Yes.
Because I always think of I never got super. I kind of aged out of wrestling like in the late 80s, and we'll get to that in a moment here, but I really love lucha libre stuff, and I still love it. I watch all the El Santo and the Blue Demon movies, and for some weird reason all of those movies, for people who've never seen them, these wrestlers are masked wrestlers who wear these masks all the time, like with a suit, whatever they're doing just in their daily life. And almost exclusively, the villains are always a mad scientist with a supercomputer. Not the same mads. These are like different plots. Like sometimes it's a spy movie, sometimes not. But there's always a mad scientist with like a little person sidekick. And I'm like, so that's what I always link mad science and wrestling is in the luchador stuff.
There you go. The one thing wrestling fans hate are scientists.
Yeah. Well, they're nerds. we like to beat up nerds. Yeah. So the cover here is NYPD Blue. We got Jimmy Schmitz and Dennis Franz. I always want to say Dennis Farina. NYPD Blue's massive at this time. This is like the cool cops issue. I don't think I've ever seen a single second of an NYPD Blue episode.
I've only watched a couple, and it really wasn't my thing. It was a little too dramatic, a little too sexy for me, but I was like, Jimmy Smith isn't even that attractive,
No, he got like a smolder, but like Dennis Franz was like, so infamously, and weirdly, for as huge as this show was when we were growing up, and it was mostly because it was controversial, and it was like a network show where they swore and had some nudity. The nudity, by the way, everybody, was Dennis Franz's ass. He was like a chubby, bald guy from Chicago.
He's a little sex appeal.
Yeah, he's like if someone was like, can we make Danny DeVito less attractive? You get Dennis Franz. So it got like a lot of critical acclaim and also controversy because of this stuff. But this is not a show I ever hear anyone rewatch now. No one's ever like, oh yeah, I binged NYPD Blue this weekend or whatever. I don't even know if it's streaming. And it's so weird because it was such a huge thing for a short time and then just like gone.
Because I think what they did was they kind of took that same format, right? Like the dramatic cop kind of thing, and they just made it better. Law and Order, took over, and I think in the in the prime time, there's actually an option to watch Law and Order, the original, and then NCIS. I mean, you just have better options with the same kind of format.
That makes sense.
But
they also kind of split it too. Like I feel like the Law and Order and your CSIs became more strict procedural, and then on the other end you get stuff with like the anti-heroes that are like the Sopranos and that kind of stuff went further with the drama and like the the gray area of the law. So people were just like, we don't like the middle, we want the extremes of these two things.
Exactly. Well, and SVU was a thing later on, but if I remember right, wasn't the bit part of the controversy with NYPD Blue? Wasn't it that the guy, I can't remember his name, but he was in CSI Miami, that he left the show?
David Caruso,
and eventually did the CSI Miami, but he gave up like this guaranteed thing, and it became a big thing, and they had to replace him with Jimmy Smits, which...
Oh, no, they didn't replace him with Jimmy Smits. They did something even better.
Oh, what happened?
They replaced him with Ricky Schroeder.
Oh. And because I don't know who that is, I take it did not go well.
Ricky Schroeder was from Silver Spoons, if you recall that show. He's now very right wing, and he's the one who bailed out that kid who shot those people during the George Floyd things.
Oh, yeah.
Whose name I forget.
So he really went to the villain side.
Oh yeah. So he was a child actor. He's in the movie The Champ, if you've ever seen that like super dramatic movie where I think it's John Voight is like a boxer, and there's a little kid who's like, "Come on, champ!" It's like a lot of, and that's Ricky Schroeder. Could not be more different from David Caruso, and that was one of those instances where, we talk about it on the show a lot, where you were a TV actor or a movie actor, and if you moved from one to the other, it was either because you were going up in your career or coming down in your career. So Caruso was like, I'm going to be a movie star. And so that's why he quit. And I think the first movie he made was this movie called Jade. That was like a really bad sort of Basic Instinct ripoff. And everyone hated him anyway, because he's like an unlikable redheaded guy to begin with. He's like if Bobby Flay couldn't even cook. And so people just wanted him to fail because there was this huge like, oh, you're better than NYPD Blue, you're gonna leave? Yeah, I hope your movie career fails, which it did. And then he comes back to TV.
I think he upgraded though, right? At the end of the day, with CSI, he had to just take his sunglasses off and just do the cool pose while cool rock music played in the background. It's the dream of every wrestler to live like that.
He won in the end. He is in a really great horror movie called Session 9 that actually shot here in New England in the old Danvers State Mental Hospital. And he's very good in that. I will give him credit there. As we go through here, there's a really fun article about Christine Baranski, who was in Sybil at that time. People know her from everything now, and she's great. But it's very interesting seeing this, like, who's this woman in Sybil? She's a stage actress. She was in The Birdcage. And it's like, yeah, people didn't know her then. It's kind of funny.
Can I point out one thing before we move on? Third page of this guide, it's a commercial, but of course it's the Marlboro Man.
Of course. A 2-page spread, come to Marlboro country.
And do you know anything about the Marlboro Man?
I don't. I've heard there's like apocryphal things, like he died of lung cancer, like that kind of stuff, but I don't know anything about him otherwise.
So NFL quarterback, I'm a Vikings fan. I grew up in Minnesota. So Sam Darnold's grandpa was the Marlboro Man. And his real name is Dick Hammer.
Hammer?
Hammer.
Okay.
And he used to speak just how, like, the ultimate rugged man. And everybody in Minnesota was just like, I want Sam Darnold to have that swag. To be that dude.
Can't you be more like Dick Hammer?
Yes. Just, why even call it the Marlboro Man? Why not just do, my name is Dick with the hammer?
And then people would call cigarettes Dick Hammers, which would be a little weird. Like, could be like if someone wanted to get like a hard pack of Dick Hammers.
You could mix it with Viagra. It would be great.
Yeah. Although, that sounds painful. Maybe they'd cancel each other out. I don't know.
I wouldn't know. So.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this is when we have the cigarette ads are still in TV Guide. They would kind of be phased out in like 97, 98 and be instantly replaced with prescription drug ads, with not even missing a beat.
So much better.
Yeah, 100%. Marlboro actually didn't advertise in TV Guide that often. This is actually kind of a surprising ad, and they really spent a lot of money for a 2-page spread right at the front of the magazine, which was not cheap.
I bet it wasn't, but when you have good old D Hammer, you have to take advantage of it.
The funny thing about the photo here, this could advertise anything. Like, it's not, there's no, for people listening, it's just like a cowboy with a rope, and there's like some out of focus cowboys behind him. Nobody's smoking. There's no cigarettes. There's like, you could literally just take the Come to Marlboro Country out of this and just put any tagline here and be like, that's the ad.
Any country, bad country music,
Yeah. Budweiser country, travel ad.
Well, it can be Budweiser country because there's no bikini models. And
That's true.
No
Were you ever a smoker?
Just marijuana.
Okay. All right. So you didn't have a brand. I'm always curious when people are like brand loyal. I've never smoked, but I'm always curious what made them pick a brand is always weird to me.
I had no girlfriend, my first girlfriend, because smoking was still a big thing at that time. Hers was Newports, and
Okay.
apparently that's like, like a step up from most cigarettes. Like it's harder, like you're tougher if you smoke a Newport or something.
I just associate here Newports with like middle-aged women at casinos here. That would be like Newports, like with just the long, like the ash that's longer than the cigarette. Yeah, that's a Newport to me.
Come to flavor country.
Yes, come to flavor country, Newport. So then we have
I think they should be sponsored.
Newport. Yeah, I don't even know if they're still around, but if Newport wants to sponsor me, I'll do menthol, whatever. After I just said how expensive a 2-page ad is, I just noticed there's a toenail fungus sporanics ad like 3 pages later. That's a 2-page spread. And I'm like, wow, they're really, I never even heard of this. So they're really laying down the money too to get in this issue.
There you go. Maybe that was their whole advertising budget, and that's why they're not around anymore.
That was the product launch and their first and last ever ad.
Why'd we choose TV Guide?
I'm telling you, I know for a fact that toenail fungus is a real problem for people who watch TV. We get it in there, and then it's smooth sailing for the rest. It's easy street for the rest of our lives.
Of course they're going to read this ad because they have to know what's on TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there is some truth to that, where TV Guide would be pretty critical of a lot of shows and wouldn't really like kiss asses of networks and stuff because they didn't have to. They were like, we're TV Guide. We're the largest print run magazine in the world, and everybody needs to buy this because it's not like they can watch, pull up a menu on their TV that tells them what's on or watch anything whenever they want.
I love it. I love it. It's weird, like thinking back and how much it's changed since then. Like, I was looking at some of the shows in the guide, and I'm like, oh, like Friday night would have been really tough because there's Family Matters, but then there's also Diagnosis Murder, and Dick Van Dyke is just he's just a charm, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen him out and about in LA?
No, I haven't.
He maybe slowed down a little bit now because I think he's hit 100. But I used to go to a lot of horror conventions, and there was a couple, one in Pasadena, one in Burbank called Monsterpalooza, and he's a massive horror movie fan, and he would go to every convention and like get people's autographs, and this is like in the last 10 years.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
He's like 90 something years old. The NYPD Blue article in here, I'm reminded of one of my least favorite cliches of the 90s, and it was like women, like a woman smoking a cigar, so you knew she was cool. And that's what they have Kim Delaney, Jimmy Smits, and Dennis Franz, and they're all smoking a cigar, and she's like, yeah, one of the guys here, I got a cigar.
She just one of the guys with the cigar, maybe a scotch. Like she's the cool chick, man. Yeah,
you just talked about sports, whatever,
It's like,
it was just...
It's old Vegas. It's like this girl would have a beer with the Rat Pack or something.
Yeah, she can hang with those guys. Like it was such a lazy shorthand in ads. There were so many like magazine covers where it's like Julia Louis-Dreyfus, what are the, like whoever, and it's just like, come on, guys, come up with something better than that. So then they go through all the new cop shows. New York Undercover, which is probably the least well known of these, is probably the best of these. The episodes of that I've seen are really good, and it probably did the worst ratings wise out of all the shows in here.
I will say that I tried to go back and watch New York Undercover because it was like before that run of really dramatic shows, and it does not hold up very well.
No. Slow or just bad characterization?
Kind of a mix of both, right?
Okay. Perfect mix.
But looking back now, like if you look at these guys, they're all like having the finger guns,
mm-hmm.
and just for that, I would instantly block them on social media.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that is pretty sad. You can't even do that ironically and have it be remotely entertaining, or like, yeah, that's bad. Then we have, I bring her up because she's been on the show, friend of the show, Jane Seymour. There's a 2-page spread in here because she had just had twins 3 months ago, and they're like, look how hot she is.
And don't get me wrong, like she is beautiful in that. That is not Julia Roberts.
She does look very much like Julia Roberts in this first photo, like incredibly like Julia Roberts. Not as much in the second one. But yeah, going through this, I thought it was Julia Roberts when I was scrolling.
I was like, was Julia Roberts like, like, was that her? Like, was that her body double is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think so, but she could have been. Then there's an article in here about Sweet Valley High, the TV series with the twins. People were fascinated with twins on television. There's always been TV shows with twins.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
And they also had an article about, or at least mentioned, the Mary-Kate and Ashley, I believe in that.
Yeah, this is like right before. So Full House had been on, I think, 7 seasons. They were just about over. So this is right around the time where Mary-Kate and Ashley would become like the richest people in the world with their really terrible direct-to-video things that they would sell there. And then we have a horrifying ad for a horrifying product on page 23 of the TV guide. This is one in a series of increasingly more horrifying porcelain dolls I always see for sale in TV Guide. This one's called It's a Girl. It looks like a dead baby. It's also really ugly. And it says, she's 19 inches long and weighs 6 pounds, just like a real newborn. So much like a real baby, it's hard to put her down. And she's only 4 easy payments of just $19.99.
I don't know if they're encouraging people to have a baby or if they're saying this is why you wear a condom.
This is just sad. Like it. Oh my God! Your baby girl arrives with a soft receiving blanket, an additional hospital cap, and a hospital bracelet and birth certificate that you may personalize to make her truly your own. This is creepy.
This is how people become Catwomen.
Yes, this is creepy. And then I love that they show the artist who designed it, Joyce Wolf. It's got her photo. She's got a little write-up. Joyce Wolf is recognized as a multi-gifted doll artist. She began her doll-making career in 1978, teaching the craft of antique reproductions. Since then, she has sculpted the full spectrum of character dolls, from newborns to adults, from fairies to celebrities. She has earned numerous awards and was specially commissioned to sculpt for Disney World. So this is a superstar.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is true, or if they're just like, let's make something up.
It was me. I'm like, we'd like you to sculpt for Disney World. Could you make like a bunch of dead babies? Like, we really would like that for our new blind. And then it has a quote from her. She says, "It's a Girl is perhaps dearer to my heart than any doll I've sculpted because she was modeled after my own grandchild. It was so special to hold the baby in my arms and marvel at its tiny features. I wanted to preserve that moment forever." This is a 24-page ad, like in the middle of the magazine for this thing that costs $80, and it's horrifying.
And that was the type of thing that you cut out the little certificate, the little reservation, and you sent like a check in the mail or a money order, like one of those things, which we would never do now. But 4 easy payments of $19.99, 1 year risk-free. Imagine if you were the model, like the granddaughter. I bet that's just years of therapy at this point.
Oh, yeah, because you probably gave her one, and it's just like sitting next to her bed at night. And this is creepy. That's for the 1 year unconditional guarantee. Right above that, it says, "It's a Girl must please you, or we'll refund all you've paid."
Oh my god! Well, that could be very topical now, Epstein Island. But
this doll does not please me. I would like my $80 back, please. Normally, I would look these things up on eBay because I'm always curious to see how cheap they're going for now, which is usually incredibly cheap. But this one, I feel like I don't even want to search for because it would completely skew all my searches.
And you'd probably end up on a list.
And not a list I want to be on.
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be people who collect these still and have there's got to be chat rooms.
I bet there are a lot of dudes that
Guys, I got a 96, it's a girl. Oh, wow.
You ever watch the SNL skit where they it's like Build-A-Bear, and it's like
No.
one guy, or not Build-A-Bear, the girl, the American Doll store,
American Girl dolls, yeah.
and it's like one guy in there and having lunch with his little doll, and very prim and proper.
Very strange. Have you ever bought anything out of a magazine or bought anything off TV?
Not in a long time. I did see the CDs in there, and we definitely bought CDs off the Columbia House thing.
It was a whole generation of us committed mail fraud, and we're better people for it.
There were several versions of D. Winkelman at that time.
Yes, it was the first time I had an alias.
Yes.
And they still owe money. So let's jump in here. Saturday night, what are you doing?
Saturday night. Let's see. You put me on the spot. I went all. They said Monday through Friday, so that's what I've been doing.
That's what I read.
Character lately, but and so I'm really into this Russian thing. So I pop into this Russian character Pietra all the time now. But Pietra loves communism. She loves Vladimir Putin, and she thinks everybody should go move to the tolerant country of Russia. So
there's a great YouTuber who does these pretty extensive videos about the history of television in different countries, especially authoritarian countries. There's one about North Korea, but there's one he did fairly recently about communist Russia and the TV they had there and the history of television there, and it is amazing.
I'll have to check it out.
There was some variety show that was kind of on. It was the number one show there was on for decades, and they would literally have housewives have competitions peeling potatoes and stuff. And it's super 70s look, even though it's 1990. It looks like the Donnie and Marie variety show.
That is very popular in my country. Peeling potatoes is a very noble profession, my friend.
Yes, it truly is.
You have the hips of an ox. This is a great compliment in Mother Russia. It means you will never go hungry. You'll always be able to push a plow.
Have you ever been to the former Soviet Union?
Of course I have. I grew up here. You do not talk to Pietra about the former Soviet Union. I live... Denise Winkelman of comedy, she is not world travel. She is buried in Canada. She's disgusting. She is a dirty, rotten crotch of comedy.
Would you being so close to Canada growing up, would you get Canadian stuff? Would you watch Canadian stuff?
Oh yeah, we had the 3 channels until Fox, kind of became a thing, and we got it later on. But yeah, we had CBC from Winnipeg, so we got to watch CFL football, and then there was a stream of American television that they would air kind of like syndication, but it would be, we got Fresh Prince on that, we got Taxi, WKRP, and then there was a couple of Empty Nest, I think.
Oh yeah, Empty Nest. What a weird mixture of shows that CBC was yeah, these are the shows.
Kids in the Hall too, so it was just an
Kids in the Hall is fantastic, yeah.
I love WKRP. It was
that's so funny. And Hockey Night in Canada, which was every Monday, I think.
Saturday at the time too. They would air it all the time.
I've had Canadian friends and guests on who were if you ever wanted to commit a crime in Canada, as long as Hockey Night in Canada was airing, you could just walk into anywhere and no one would be around. You just take whatever you want. There's an interesting thing on this Saturday. So we're in March, and March is always, at least at this time, is sort of mid-season replacement zone where they dump a lot of shows. They had just canceled some shows. So there's a pilot that they're airing, because they used to air pilots then that they weren't picking up because they were like, let's try and make back some of our money. So at 8:30 on Saturday, there's a pilot for a show called The Nerd. And it says, in a pilot for a series not currently on NBC's announced schedule. So they're already telling you, like, this did not get picked. This is not good. Like, basically, that's what
We
you
got
think.
something with it.
No one wants to watch this. A fast-track couple played by John Dye and Harley Kozak take a long-lost nerdish friend, Robert Joy, in as a house guest. But then it stars also M. Emmett Walsh and Ben Vereen, which is really weird.
I love it. I mean, it's such a weird thing, but I mean, the one that stands out on Saturday night would have definitely been Dr. Quinn because she was Hoot, and Walker, Texas Ranger. Because anything with Chuck Norris has to be good, right?
Walker, Texas Ranger is tough to watch.
I loved it as a kid because I thought it was cool, and then you go back and watch it, and it's like, oh, that could have been better.
Have you ever seen the episode where he fights the Satanists?
I have watched all of them, my friend.
Oh, the Satanist one is amazing. Like, that one is just... that might be the most bonkers episode of Walker, Texas Ranger, which is saying a lot.
I'll have to go back. I seriously watched it every Saturday. I lived in the middle of nowhere, and it was cold all the time.
That was the pitch for people. That's like the ads for Walker, Texas Ranger were like, do you live in the middle of nowhere and it's cold all the time? Watch Walker. What else are you going to do?
Yeah. It's Chuck Norris. He has a name, kind of.
Yeah. I have never watched Dr. Quinn or Chuck Norris, any of his television pursuits. But Dr. Quinn was a massive hit. Like, did really well on Saturday nights, and they canceled it, not because it got bad ratings, but because it got ratings among people they didn't care about. Meaning it was like old people and people who didn't buy things. So they were like, these ratings are not worth anything.
Yeah. We can't sell enough ads on it.
Yeah, it was like, tons of people are watching it. They're like, yeah, but no one cares about these guys.
You know the odd thing, my Saturday nights during this time I think it lined up, but there was actually a local PBS station that we would watch a lot of, and they had this show from Canada actually called Red Green.
Oh yeah.
And we watched that all the time.
And that was it was sort of like Home Improvement if it was just the Home Improvement show, but also like Canadian version of Hicks, basically.
Yeah, Canadian Hicks, they would go out on the lake all the time, and it was like the wacky kind of stuff that went on at a cabin. Not really what went on at a cabin, but like, oh, this is kind of funny, but there's no wrestling on tonight, so we'll be fine.
On USA Network, and this just caught my eye scrolling, there's a show called Campus Cops on, which I don't remember. But the description of this episode at 9:30 on Saturday night is Campus Cops. Andy wrestles an alligator.
Ooh, there you go.
I've never seen that. I've never encountered that as a thing. I don't think I'd want to wrestle an alligator.
It was a really weird time in television because you still had... everybody would watch the networks. It was before, cable just had all these shows every night, but you would also get a blend of stuff. So you would have options to get away from it.
Were you in Central Time growing up?
We were Central Time, yeah.
See, I was always jealous of you because you got that, like, you could watch the 10 o'clock shows and not be up late.
My favorite time zone I've lived in, because I've pretty much lived in them all at this point, it's Mountain Time. Denver was the best.
What was the difference with Mountain Time?
So the difference in Mountain Time is, because I watch sports, so like the college football, it wasn't early enough to miss like college game day, because it was like 8 to 10 or whatever, so it wouldn't kill you on a weekend to watch it. And then 10 a.m. like game day, so fairly normal. And it was like 11 for NFL, I think. and it's been a little bit since I lived there. But the cool thing is they would air stuff live. Where in Los Angeles, it's cool, like all the live stuff, like sports, start normal. It's a little too early sometimes, and so we can't really do anything in between. And then the stuff in prime time, a lot of times it's recorded and aired like when Eastern Time would do it. So like SNL a lot of times is recorded and then airs at like 11:30. It's like, well, you're missing out on the cool aspect of it being earlier in case you just really want to go to bed at 10 o'clock.
And SNL is a good example because they're infamous for messing with shows after they aired live. So the rerun, which is technically a rerun in LA, they'll often replace sketches that didn't work with sketches from rehearsal.
Worse.
It's so not fair.
No, well, and I'm surprised they can do it now with social media the way it is.
Yeah, because like back to the wrestling magazines, they would do TV tapings for like WCW and WWF things, but those matches wouldn't air for like weeks or months. So those magazines would be like, there was a taping in Dallas and Hulk Hogan. It would like give you all the who's gonna win for like the next 3 months.
Absolutely, and sometimes it wouldn't happen. Like there was a thing way back in the day. So when I was really into it, like in college, like WCW was just coming to an end, but Lance Storm dropped the belt, or he won the belt, like a U.S. title from Terry Funk or something, and they did this off TV, but they were gonna. And a lot of times they wouldn't even acknowledge it. It was just like for that. I'm like, dude, like you can't have it on the internet and then not air it. Like that's not cool.
If it's not on TV, it doesn't count.
Me and my buddies, we went to WCW tapings. So it was like a live Nitro. It was when Vince Russo was running it right before it closed. And so all the storylines didn't make sense. They did Nitro, and just to save money, they did a Thunder taping right after. Well, the only thing people cared about was Nitro. And so it was me and my buddy, and we were sitting like in this front section kind of, and there were like 50 empty chairs around us for the Thunder taping. And Psycho Sid Vicious came out and would just yell. And he was yelling because he got screwed out of the title, and he's just yelling about it. And I go, then why the F aren't you wearing the belt? And he just stared at me like he was going to kill me, to the point where my friend just walked away from me. And I was like, that was a good day. I was ignored.
There were so few people there. You had like an audience, like a personal audience with Sid Vicious.
Exactly, like to the point where he stared into my soul, and that was a big dude. So he probably.
It'd be funny if that's when you started wrestling, because he was like, "You want to go?" You were conscripted.
Exactly. I would have pushed my friend right in front of me, though.
Yeah, I don't think we would have wanted. No one would have wanted to take him on at that time. Sunday, anything sticking out to you?
Oh yeah, Sunday was. Lois and Clark, which was classic. I kind of like that show. Looking back, I probably wouldn't. And then I have no idea what it is, but the movie John's Woman, which is the most creative title for a movie I have ever heard.
Yeah, so there's Lois and Clark was odd, and it was a big hit, but comic book stuff was not really considered bankable still. And Dean Cain was not a great Superman. Also a man who personally told me he doesn't believe in CTE. Doesn't think it's a thing. Because he played football in college. So he'd know. But this episode's actually pretty good because Bruce Campbell is in it. This is when Bruce Campbell was on the show of Evil Dead fame. And Peter Boyle. So they had some really good guest stars. Let's see what John's Girl? Was that the movie?
John's Woman.
John's Woman. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, John.
You're a girl. No, she's a woman.
No, she's a woman. I'm going to look in the movie section and see what they've given this for stars, because I have also not heard of this film. Let's see.
It's probably on Hallmark now.
Let's see. What's my alphabet here? H-I-J. Okay, here we go. It it's not even listed in the movie section. So I'm like, what is this? What channel is it even on?
It's on network TV too.
How weird. I wonder if it's like a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, it has to be. It has to. It says Neil Simon's John's.
Oh, it's a Neil Simon play. Okay, that would be insufferable.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was just
A 1996 Neil Simon play. Yeah, I can't imagine how like just not it would be embarrassing. It would be like dad joke equivalent embarrassing. Yeah, that does not look good. There's not even a close up or anything on it. Mad about you. Oof, yeah, no, thank you. I'm gonna pass on John's woman. Sorry, John. I'm watching Dragon, the Bruce Lee story.
I would much rather have them go back and just make John's girl, and that would have been better.
Yeah, that was where they went wrong. Oh yeah, Jake's woman. Okay. Jake's woman.
Oh, Jake's woman.
Oh, this is actually so. Alan Alda's in it, and Mira Sorvino. Huh. I've never heard of this. And Lolita Davidovich, Julie Kavner, who's Marge Simpson, Ann Archer. Weird. I've never heard of this, and it has a huge cast. How strange.
I probably should have worn my glasses and I just assumed it was John's woman.
Jake, John, what's the difference?
It all runs together after a while. I mean, I'm gonna hold out until they make John's woman.
Yeah. There's an audience for it. I think you got to sell that script.
So we just got Jake's woman in Russia. It is tremendous. They peel potatoes.
They got a lower rent, lower budget version of Jake's woman called John's woman, John's girl. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Her name is Svetlana. She is beautiful.
Same thing. Dragon the Bruce Lee story is actually a pretty decent movie. I saw that in the theater. I was a big Bruce Lee fan. It's ridiculous, and there's a lot of inaccuracies, but it's an entertaining movie. There's also a Farrah Fawcett made-for-TV movie on with her, Powers Booth, and Peter Coyote, and it's called Delva, a story of forbidden love, a passion for life, a lust for men, and a secret that would haunt her forever. Delva. And it looks like an ad for Mom Jeans, really. I can't imagine what this is. It doesn't look great.
This is saying the Super Bowl is over, and as a family, the women get to control the remote.
Yes. You made me watch the Super Bowl. You're watching Delva.
Exactly. It's our night. It's date night.
She's haunted by a passion for lust. Like, what does that even mean? I don't know. Monday, what are you doing?
Yeah, so Monday was Third Rock. I love Third Rock from the Sun. Definitely Murphy Brown, I think, would have been in there. Mad About You, News Radio, Coach, Wings. I mean, this would have been Home Improvement, John Larroquette. Like, I would have been fighting through different. We would have had to put something on VHS, is what I'm trying to say.
You'd have to do some time shifting because there were too many good sitcoms on all at once. Yeah, this is a weird stacked night. Murphy Brown, this is sort of towards the end of Murphy Brown, so they're doing more like stunts. So this episode has a guest appearance by Newt Gingrich. And they have his photo. I'm like, is that a selling point? People are going to go, I wouldn't want, oh, wait, whoa, Newt Gingrich.
We just have to see what he'll do.
Yeah, you never know what he's going to come. They got to tape that one. So they're going for some stunt casting there. Third Rock from the Sun is a show. Bronson Pinchot is guest starring in this episode as Jane Curtin's brother. I remember the show being huge. It felt like it was on forever, but again, never really comes up. Like, I don't even know if it's streaming. Like, it's not one of those shows people go back and are like, I love Third Rock.
So it's one of those things. If you ever get a chance to watch it, if it ever streams anywhere, check it out, because I think if you watch them all like back to back, but I've watched them all, like all the episodes again. It's I'm blanking on the name, but it's Jane Curtin,
John Lithgow.
Yeah, John Lithgow. That whole
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Is that his name?
No. Joseph Gordon. It's
Levy?
not.
Yeah, Gordon Elliott was the talk show host who was Australian. We'll call him Jago.
Yeah, Jago. There you go. But French Stewart, like all those guys are like really funny, but the concept of them being from another planet and trying to fit in on Earth and them doing it in a very silly, over the top way and just having fun with it, it's hilarious. John Lithgow like keeps looking in the mirror and going, "Look at me, good God, I'm gorgeous," and I just love that concept. It's hilarious to me.
It was very oddly out of phase with the other sitcoms at this time because it was wacky. Like that's a very high concept. That's like an 80s concept show. But everything else was pretty grounded in reality. Like there's an ad here for all the NBC shows, and it's Third Rock from the Sun, Brotherly Love, which is the Lawrence brothers, Seinfeld, Frasier, Mad About You, News Radio. Like Third Rock really is not like the others in those shows.
Well, and there was no, in that whole group of the main cast, there was nobody who was normal. Everybody was like the wacky character.
They're all the wacky neighbor, the entire show. There's also another made-for-TV movie on. Oh, no, it's a series premiere. And it's a show called High Incident. The toughest part about being a cop is being human. So it calls it the most anticipated new drama of the year, which I don't think is true. And then they have the worst like promo. This is an ABC show. It says, "Explosive series premiere. Make your neighborhood watch." Make your neighborhood watch. That is the promo they're going with for High Incident.
It is very popular in Russia. We all of that show.
Looks terrible. Oh, that did not last long.
We have a neighborhood watch in Russia too, my friend.
The whole neighborhood watches it.
They get together as a neighborhood and bury the person in the backyard.
Well, as long as you eat where you kill, it's fine.
Do you know what we do to comedians in Russia?
You ship them here and they become Yakov Smirnoff.
No, not at all. You don't bring up his name. We take all those dirty artists and we play joke on them. We send them to Ukraine. And then we send the bombs. It's hilarious.
And then they become president. Total side note there, when they try to like discredit him, Zelensky, they're like, oh, he was in a sitcom, whatever. But he's a lawyer and his sitcom was like Veep. It was not like Home Improvement. It was like, there's a big difference like in the kind of show. And he's more like a guy from like the Daily Show rather than like, he wasn't Bronson Pinchot. And I like Bronson Pinchot, but I'm just saying he probably wouldn't be the president.
You know how many times I laughed at his sitcom? None.
Have you ever seen Exporting Raymond?
Exporting Raymond? No.
Yeah, it's a documentary where a lot of the networks would sell the concepts of U.S. sitcoms to foreign countries. So like Married with Children, Everybody Loves Raymond, they would sell like almost like a franchise. So this documentary is Phil Rosenthal, who created Everybody Loves Raymond. They hire him to go to Russia to help them with the Russian Everybody Loves Raymond. It's real. It's a documentary and it's fascinating. And especially as like a comedy nerd, seeing them have to like adjust things for the humor is very interesting. It's really good. I cannot recommend it highly enough.
I will definitely check it out.
Tuesday, what are you doing?
Well, Tuesday, this is a weird one because there wasn't a lot going on. So ACMs is where I would have went because I love my one-hit wonders in 90s country music.
See, we were completely insulated from country music here in New England. Like, it just didn't exist. I think Garth Brooks got through, like, a tiny bit, but that's it. So I could not name... There are people who will be like, remember this song from the 90s? And I'd be like, no.
With us, growing up in the middle of nowhere, like, that's what they played all the time. Like, we had 3 radio stations, all of them were country. So.
Well, you can have any song you want as long as it's country. What were 2 or 3 of the big country hits the year you graduated?
Around that time, like Shania Twain was huge.
Oh yeah, we did have her.
whose bed have your boots been under? Garth would have been huge at that time. Like, so, probably something like a little later on, like The Dance or That Summer was a big one for Garth, I think, at that point.
I know Friends in Low Places and Thunder Rolls.
Thunder Rolls, yeah.
Yep.
And he had some good ones around that time. And then I want to say like John Michael Montgomery would have been huge at that point. Like he was doing the song about an auction that was called Sold, which could mean so many different things right now. But it's him hitting on a girl at an auction, but it could have been way worse.
Very strange. But of course, Chris Gaines, huge.
Chris in New England, Chris Gaines
was massive. Everyone was into Chris Gaines. People getting Chris Gaines tattoos. He's huge.
I have never heard one piece of music from Chris Gaines.
Nobody bought that album.
No. I will say this, with Hulk Hogan just passing away, have you ever listened, sorry, I can't talk, listen to Hulk Hogan's music album that he put out?
No.
You have to. It's on YouTube. It's him singing, trying to be a singer. And so he does this whole music album when you could just slap your names on things. Jimmy Hart was involved in it. Like they were buddies, and Hogan played in a band and like bass, but he was legitimately singing. And he sings this song called like Hogan, A Wrestler in Heaven or Hogan in Heaven or something. And it's him singing to this kid he met through Make-A-Wish. And it's him being serious, singing a ballad about this kid who's in heaven now, passed away. And it was the worst tribute of all time. Oh. And he's legitimately being serious. So when he passed away, that was my tribute, was posthumous.
He tributed himself. You told him to go tribute himself as he died.
Apparently, he never got auto-tune.
Interesting blip in history when celebrities would try to put out albums before they were able to make them sound good.
Wrestlers would put their name on anything. I was on a wrestling show with the Rock and Roll Express way back in the day, and they were in the South, in the middle of nowhere. These guys were like 60, and legitimately they would have this intermission. A fan came up to him and gave him like a T-shirt or a picture. Like, legit, you meant so much from my childhood. They gave him a hug. They said congrats. As they were doing it, the one guy handed the other guy the picture or whatever. They signed it, turned around, and sold it for $5.
I did own the 10-inch. I think it was a 10-inch single for Junkyard Dog's "Grab Them Cakes." I did have that song. I mean, that's a quality track. That's the exception.
Excellent. Well, if you're into really bad music, listen to the Hulkster in Heaven.
Hulkster in Heaven. Oh my God. There's a Fox original movie on this night. It's a Hallmark Entertainment movie on Fox, and it is. This is a weird title. It's called "In the Lake of the Woods." Which sounds like it's been translated by Google Translate from another language. In the Lake of the Woods, read the Penguin book, In the Lake of the Woods, by Tim O'Brien, a Fox original movie. All evidence points to her husband. A woman disappeared without a trace. The press, the police, and her family are convinced of his guilt. But can any of them prove it? That sounds not interesting.
The only thing that's interesting about that to me is Lake of the Woods is a Minnesota lake.
There's a lot of lakes. You could kill a lot of wives in those lakes.
It was a northern lake up by the Canadian border, so it was very much a thing. So I'm like, ooh, who murdered who?
It's like reverse ice fishing. There's also a show on that night called Buddies, and this is an infamously terrible sitcom. Again, mid-season replacements. So we're trying out shows that we weren't totally into. But this one is worth mentioning because it stars Dave Chappelle.
I was like, is that Chappelle? I don't remember this at all, but How interesting.
This was his first like big break. This show was terrible. This is the debut. Two friends, one black and single, the other white and married, are fledgling filmmakers operating a video service. In the season opener, the guys risk personal funds to rent equipment for a job. See, here's the premise. One's black and he's single, and one of them's white and he's married. Sold.
CBS just brought that back, I'm pretty sure, with the Cedric the Entertainer show.
The tagline here, not as bad as Make Your Neighborhood Watch. It says, best friends who don't see the world in just black and white.
They're so progressive.
That was enough of a novelty. Like, Third Rock from the Sun, they're aliens inhabiting human bodies. Great. What's the premise of this show? It's kind of weird. There's a black guy and a white guy, and they're friends. High concept.
I love it. Do you? I thought it would be in this in this TV guide, but do you remember the sitcom Men Behaving Badly?
Oh yes, it was a remake of a UK sitcom.
Oh God, I liked the first season. The second season, somebody got to him and said, "We need you to tone it down just a little bit."
And they recast. I think Ken Marino was in the first season, and then didn't they recast him with Rob Schneider? Rob Schneider came in.
Something like that, yeah, for sure.
Whenever Rob Schneider comes in, I mean, it's bad.
Yeah. Can you even qualify that as men at that point?
No, not really. The behaving and badly makes sense. But yeah, Rob Schneider, to this day, one of the few people I've told I don't want on the show.
Good for you. Good for you. I was convinced in the back of my mind because I was just like, is that Joe Rogan? Was he in that show?
It feels like he should have been.
Definitely.
I don't think even that show was below the bar enough for him to be able to be on.
He was on news radio, and I actually thought he was funny on news
He was
radio.
great on that, but they just used him, and he's in very few. They use very little of him, and it goes a long way. In news radio, because like two of the worst people, or two people I absolutely despise, Andy Dick and Joe Rogan, incredibly funny on news radio, and I love news radio. Both those guys, bad people. I said it.
There you go. Perfect. I will. Pietra agrees. I'll say.
Fair enough. Wednesday, what are you doing?
So Wednesday was, gosh, why am I not following enough? This is what happens. I get distracted by glitter. Wednesday was Louis into the reruns of the ACMs would probably be what I was watching.
What was the reruns of?
The ACMs, the country musical. Or no, no, they changed it to comedy on this one. I would have watched the Comedy Awards. The
Comedy Awards was something they tried to really make a thing, and it never really caught on, weirdly. Like, they really pushed it. This is a New Hampshire edition that I scanned for you, and I only mention it because there's a quarter-page ad for a special called Fritz Weatherby Tours the Granite State as It Used to Be. New Hampshire Remembered 3. And then it has a list of all the segments in here, and it's Golden Gloves Boxing in Manchester, Concord Railroad Depot, Theater at the Sea in Portsmouth, Inferno Ski Race at Tuckerman's Ravine, Buck's Cafe in Dover, Camp Cody on Ossipee Lake, Mary Hitchcock Hospital at Dartmouth, and Island Park Baseball in Hinsdale. Like, who would turn past that up with that lineup?
Never. I've always wanted to see the sea at Portsmouth.
National Geographic has Russia's Last Tsar, The Last Days of a Royal Family on at 8 o'clock.
It is a great honor. You say the greatest Tsar. Do you know who Vladimir Putin's favorite leader in the history of Russia is? The great Catherine.
Oh, I was going to say Alexander.
He respects it when women take what they want.
I thought it was going to be a horse thing.
Did you know all of Vladimir Putin's concubines are transgender?
That I would believe.
Yes. We kidnap people, for celebrities from all over the world, and they become princesses in Russia.
That sounds plausible.
Did you know if you play your cards right, we will give you away many oxen, and you could be ravaged by Vladimir Putin?
All 5'2" of them.
He would ravage you in ways that you have never been ravaged, my friend.
He would climb you like a mountain because you're twice his size.
The only reason we keep Denise Winkelman of comedy alive is that someday Vladimir Putin might just get really desperate and drunk and keep vodka and may decide to ravage her as a booty call.
Who wouldn't like to be ravaged by a 75-year-old little person? He's a real little person.
Prince Jr. is in Russia right now being ravaged.
Yeah, he's got like kids he keeps secrets. Very strange. The American Comedy Awards, I see no stand-ups here. This seems to be, it's the 10th annual, and the people they're really promoting, I mean, there's like just a huge list of very famous people, but the people they're promoting the most is Roseanne, John Travolta, Alicia Silverstone, which I guess makes sense because Clueless was the year before this, Kelsey Grammer, Jennifer Aniston, Matthew Perry, and then no real shocks for the rest of the people listed. It's like the cast of Cheers and Seinfeld and Whoopi Goldberg. But I'm like, it's such a vague thing.
Yeah.
Because there's not like American Drama Awards or like just comedy.
Well, and what they're really saying is stand-up isn't really comedy because there are no stand-ups on this list. We have to promote, the really funny actors like, Bette Midler.
Oh yeah, Bette Midler, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this sounds terrible. So they go, the highlights include a sketch spotlighting Lily Tomlin as M13 or whatever that character is called, a Babe spoof pairing Beatrice Arthur with a pig, and banter between the absolutely fabulous duo Jennifer Saunders and Joanna Lumley. So this is when Ab Fab was pretty big here. Oh, this is interesting, though. Richard Pryor is a presenter, and he would have been ill at this point, not really out and about. So that probably would have been depressing.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, that would have...
Richard Pryor.
That would have bummed me out. There's also a Lifetime original movie about Nazis and starring Kelly Martin. So that's like a pretty typical Wednesday, called Hidden in Silence.
Where do you think you would have cried out more, the American Comedy Awards or the Nazi movie?
That's a good question. Probably the American Comedy Awards. I think the Nazi movie probably would have been funnier than the American Comedy Awards. It looks pretty over the top, but not as funny as a movie called Sweet Temptation, starring Beverly D'Angelo and Rob Estes. It says mother, boyfriend, daughter. 2's company. 3 is betrayal. The picture is gross. Like who was like, yeah, all right. Beverly D'Angelo and yeah, I don't want to watch that. That looks horrific.
It would be fascinating to find who greenlit these projects and what was their true career.
Just some pervert. He's like, guys, I got the title, Sweet Temptation. And here, I just saw this. Playing the daughter is Jenny Lewis, who would later go on to be, musician Jenny Lewis. Wow. That sounds terrible.
This is what happens when they didn't have when Diddy didn't throw parties.
They had to make these kind of movies to get that sort of thing out there. Oof, that is rough. Thursday, what are you doing?
Oh, Thursday would have been a good one, right? Like, it would have been Friends, going into The Single Guy, going into Seinfeld, The Carolina in the City. You almost have to go with the classic one up there.
I think you're the first person I've had on the show who used the term good one and single guy in the same sentence.
I just meant the night. That's what I misspoke. Don't take for seriously.
I didn't mind The Single Guy. I'll be honest, I didn't mind it. It was created by Brad Hall, but it definitely did not hold up to the other shows that surrounded it. But this is a really special episode of Single Guy because as a card shark, it's friend of mine, friend of the show, Boston comedian Tony V is starring in this episode of The Single Guy, which I totally forgot he was in. So I'm going to have to go back and watch that because he would play a very good card shark.
Nice. Single Guy was Silverman, right?
Yeah, Jonathan Silverman, and it was created by Brad Hall, who was married to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It was on SNL with her and directed some of Seinfeld and that kind of thing, but I'm not saying it was on before Seinfeld because of that, but I kind of am.
Probably. Well, and didn't that have like a revolving door, like that slot between Friends and Seinfeld, like
Yep.
where it just like every couple of years they would just try something else and they just couldn't get it to stick.
Nothing
You need
worked.
to calm down in between. Like you need to be able to get the popcorn and stuff. Like
Need a palate cleanser.
Yes.
Do you have a sorbet of a comedy we could put here? How about Veronica's Closet? Yes, that will do nicely. Thank you.
Exactly. It's just a little warm up. It's just if you get too bored and don't want to change the channel, there you go.
Yeah, if you don't feel like getting up, if you're invalid, we have to
Yeah.
put something on for you.
Well, I'm pretty sure the business model there was go walk your dog and just leave the TV on.
Yeah, it'll count. It's fine. There's a made-for-TV movie called Forgotten Sins with Bess Armstrong, who I love, and William Devane. I'm not even going to read the premise of this because it's horrific. Jesus Christ, who the hell wants to watch that? Oof, my God. And it's like a full-page ad. Like, someone's going to be like, oh, yeah, that sounds good.
Lifetime original movie, too.
Oof, people are weird. Final night of the week, Friday night. What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to use the term good one in another vein. But no, this would have been the battle, right? Like the VHS, because I like Due South, I like Diagnosis Murder. I did like Dan. I'm an old soul, even at 18 years old. But Step by Step, I like Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That whole night, like the Urkel night, Family Matters, all that. And of course the Muppets. Who doesn't like the Muppets? Man?
This is the debut of this is the first time they did a Muppet show after Henson had died. So prior to this, they had the Jim Henson Hour in 1989, 1990, which was on NBC, which was ABC, which was really great. It was a half-hour Muppet show and then like a half-hour of the storyteller. So this was them trying to do a Muppet show without Henson, and it's pretty good. It didn't last super long. The debut, they really stacked it. Michelle Pfeiffer is in the episode, and I don't know if people can comprehend how huge of a star Michelle Pfeiffer was in 1996, and to have her on the Muppet Show was like a big deal.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine, but this would have been a night like where all the virgins who didn't get laid in high school, like where you justify staying in, and that was definitely me at that point. So.
They'd be like, Michelle Pfeiffer's on the Muppets. What else am I going to do? Are you crazy?
Her and Kermit, like it's a good time.
that's a good. You can't go wrong with that. Unsolved Mysteries is on. Sliders, which I never watched, but I remember people enjoying. This is the tail end of TGIF, so this is like the second to last, or maybe the last season of Family Matters. So this is when Urkel is like capable of doing magic.
Oh, and
this one is.
Didn't want to be a nerd anymore?
Yeah, I can time travel. Like, Urkel's powerful love potion prompts a sudden devotion from Laura. Airline nightmares plague Carl and Harriet on their way to Nassau for a second honeymoon. He's making love potions. Like, it's just bizarre.
That was developed by Dr. Melvin Winkelman.
Yes. And then there's a UPN special presentation. They tried to do their own version of Cops. And they're like, we're going to one-up them. And it says, where Cops stops, they go into action. American Bounty Hunter. A UPN special presentation. And this is literally... This is how they advertise it. No search warrants, no Miranda rights, no problem. Literally, like, this show has no constitutional rights. We're just going to roll over people. That sounds terrible.
It's would be really, really topical today, though.
I just remembered just this second that Dog the Bounty Hunter was a thing.
Let's go a little more hillbilly.
How like, and then he died. But that guy looked speaking of wrestlers, that guy looked like a burnt out, like, early 80s wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
It was
a mullet.
How did that even happen? Like, people watched it. It was a hit.
So sometimes people get really bored, like the Joe thing in the pandemic.
I would like to think that's how they pitched it. Guys, sometimes people get really bored.
Oh, yeah.
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Just think of a redneck guy with a mullet, a weird wife, and we're going to give him a stunt gun.
Yep, Oakley's.
Yes.
He dresses like Guy Fieri. But if Guy Fieri was in Mad Max.
He doesn't have the swag or the charisma. My goodness, he has the best.
Can't cook, doesn't have the knowledge, but, he's a bounty hunter.
I can't tell you how many wrestlers I knew in Kentucky that would have loved to be Dog the Bounty Hunter.
That wouldn't have been if he was a wrestler, that's not a bad gimmick. He's the bounty hunter, and he's named Dog, but as a real guy... That's like if there was a reality show about a prison guard and it was Big Boss Man or something. It's like, that's his real name. It's Big Boss Man.
The dude legally changes his name.
Really legally changed it. So Denise, as you know, TV Guide is not just informative. It has opinions and it cheers and it jeers. So to wrap up, I'd like to read you the cheers and jeers of this week in 1996, see if we agree or disagree. This is my favorite part of TV Guide because it gets really bitchy. It's unsigned. It's anonymous, so who knows who wrote it. And it's a split week. We get 2 cheers, 2 jeers.
Okay.
Cheers to ESPN's ever sporty promos. Our current fave has crooner Robert Goulet extolling NCAA basketball with cheesy lounge act patter. Quote, the 2 sweetest words in the English language after chorus girl, college hoops, and retooled pop chestnuts like Jim Croce's Bad Bad Leroy Brown becomes an ode to North Carolina's Dean Smith, baddest coach in the ACC. Then there's that Jeopardy spoof with John Theismann, Chris Berman, and Tom Jackson, and the classic spot where, don't get us started. Let's just say when it comes to dreaming up zany promos, ESPN is in a zone.
I love that that's in TV Guide, though, and it has to be so much worse than the real promo.
Yes. Because these sound like SNL sketches, but I think this is before, Will Ferrell was doing the Goulet thing, and before the show, they're just doing it for real.
I think 96 he might have been a thing, right?
Maybe, but it would have been pretty contemporary. I'm curious to see these. They have 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 screen grabs of Robert Goulet in these ads in this. That's how much they love it. Maybe they're funny. Jeers to messing with Mother Nature. Wildlife cinematographer Marty Stouffer, producer of the Wild America series on PBS, has been accused by national park officials and former employees of repeatedly staging scenes for his show. For instance, pitting animals against each other in a pen and later editing out the cage. Stouffer claims he's being smeared by a Colorado environmental group that recently won a sizable civil suit against the filmmaker for building a trail across its land. Stouffer denies mistreating animals, admitting only to luring cutthroat trout and Yellowstone Park into camera range with bait. We hope the charges of staging pitched battles between animals turns out to be unfounded. On this topic, we tend to be purist. Nature films should be natural.
I mean, you're telling me that what's on TV isn't real? How dare they?
Well, famously, Disney did this. In those Disney shorts, they like lemmings, they literally pushed them off cliffs and were like, yeah, no, they do this.
I mean, maybe this is where the Kardashians got their idea.
It could be. They are animals that have been pitted together in a cage. I do often call the Kardashians cutthroat trout. And people don't know what I'm referencing, but maybe now they will.
Don't make the animals fight.
No, that is not entertainment.
No.
Get some desperate people who want to be on TV and make them fight.
Exactly.
They can consent.
Women in heels with big booties. That's what we want.
If they need to take their earrings off to fight, then that's okay.
Jerry Springer all over again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Cheers to Siskel and Ebert for expanding their range. The prominent film critics emerged from the Cineplex long enough to select HBO's Truman as their video pick of the week, with Gene Siskel citing Gary Sinise's work in the title as, quote, brilliant. This rare recognition of TV fare comes at an auspicious moment. TBS's Hank Aaron, Chasing the Dream, and HBO's One Survivor Remembers both received Academy Award nominations in the documentary category. More and more, the best films premiere in your living room. What a PR. That's just, that's not a cheer.
No, that's not a cheer at all. And basically they're saying, well, we thought Siskel and Ebert just lived at the movie theater and just never, it's like their retirement home. They just wear diapers and watch movies all day.
Right. They're like, well, they watch movies that are on television as well. And also, aren't those movies great? Like, who greased them to put this in as a cheer?
Yeah, exactly. They brought up TBS and that's just not right.
No, I agree.
They have sold their soul for the corporate dollar.
It's true. They're like TBS's Hank Aaron, which we all remember as being, one of the greatest films of all time, Chasing the Dream. Not as good as The Babe starring John Goodman.
all I could think of is, 96 would have been, right around where people started jacking home runs all the time.
Yes.
Like the steroid era, we were just starting to get into it. It's like, I think it would have been funnier if Siskel and Ebert would have commented on that and reviewed the home runs.
That would be good. Just have them call a baseball game sometime.
Yeah, with Will Ferrell as Harry Carey.
Yeah, and then just swap them out. And finally, Jeers. I can already tell you I don't agree with this Jeer. I haven't read the whole thing, but I see the word Jeers and the name Bob Balaban, and I'm already disagreeing because I love Bob Balaban. But Jeers to copycat casting. Lately, actor Bob Balaban seems to be making a career of playing NBC programming executives. On Seinfeld, Balaban had a reoccurring role as Russell Dalrymple, the NBC stuffed suit to whom Jerry and George pitched their radical concept of a show about nothing. You may recall that Dalrymple eventually chucked his network job, joined Greenpeace, and died in a skirmish with Norwegian whalers. In The Late Shift, HBO's dramatization of the competition between Jay Leno and Dave Letterman, Balaban turned up again in the peacock feathers, this time in an unflattering portrait of NBC Entertainment chief Warren Littlefield. Rare cheer within a jeer, however. To Letterman's wry reaction to The Late Shift. After showing a clip of the overwrought film on his show, Dave unveiled his own version, a riotous spoof that showed him in a lopsided, bright red wig, jitterbugging his way through scenes like Barney Fife after a double espresso. Rare cheer within a jeer. Have you ever seen that movie, The Late Shift?
I've seen parts of it, but it's been a long time, so I don't remember it.
It's very silly, but not that far from reality. That whole thing was nuts.
Is it better than The Studio?
That's difficult to answer. I mean, The Studio, you don't have someone playing Jay Leno. And that's always going to be entertaining.
So many things could be said right now.
Do you have any comfort shows that you watch now? Do you have like a going to bed show or anything?
Well, I have a lot that I go back to. So the movie I love, some of the movies I love, just like watch them over and over again. Enola Holmes 1 and 2, I love them. I like the show Wednesday, but I love spy stuff. Love The Night Agent on Netflix. A lot of Netflix shows right now, but my favorite is Linus.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Oh, Linus from Taylor Sheridan. Absolutely love it. Very dramatic. It's not silly.
Is it a Western? He does like Westerns usually, right?
Well, he did Yellowstone and he did all the spinoffs, but it's Zoe Saladina and Nicole Kidman are in it. the several actors. Morgan Freeman's in it. Love the first season. The second season was great too. They're gonna most likely come out with the third, but it's serious. It's like they're this team in the CIA, like they do the missions that nobody else wants to do, and so they have a person that goes undercover with the daughter of a high value terrorist, and so they get close. There becomes like a love story, a forbidden love story, and then the whole thing is like, are they going to kill the terrorist? And all the political things. Love that show. Silly wise, love the show Psych. I will go back and watch Psych over and over again. Love Mrs. Maisel. Hacks is good, but it's not like an over and over again show. So those are my go-tos. Psych can make me laugh anytime. James Roday is a saint.
If you like Psych and Spies, Burn Notice?
Burn Notice was good. It's not as silly as Psych.
No, that's true. That's true. I would recommend Counterpart, if you've not seen it, which I think was a Netflix show. It's sort of sci-fi, but not real. It's a spy show. And Rubicon, which was only on for one season, and it's one of the best spy shows I've ever seen. It's fantastic.
I'll definitely check it out. I just watched Slow Horses.
Oh yeah, I heard that was great. I've been recommended. Many people have recommended that to me. Gary Oldman.
It's very good. It's very good. I also like the show Mythic Quest. At least the first couple of seasons. I've watched the first couple. So it's the guy from It's Always Sunny, the creator of that, Rob McElhenney, and so he's like kind of the same character, but he's like a video game creator. He creates this video game and it blows up, and so it's him just thinking he's a god, and so he's always trying to create his new video game, and he has a staff around him. That's kind of crazy.
You're like, I enjoy seeing hubris on screen.
I love silliness. The thing I love most about Psych is just how over the top silly they are and how they improv and play. I don't know, like that's one of the things I want to do. Like it's just be silly all the time. Yeah,
it is always fun to watch a show where they seem like they're enjoying making the show, but not in an exclusatory way. I don't even think that's a word, but in a way that like I've seen shows where I'm like, well, it seems like they're having fun, but I don't know what's going on. But there are definitely shows where it's like this is just like wonderful. Like Nailed It's like that for me. I'm like, everyone's enjoying themselves here. This is very fun. So new specials on YouTube.
So my special is it's not just YouTube. It's going to premiere on the 19th of August. Amazon, YouTube, Vimeo.
All the streaming services you can purchase.
All the streamings, Apple TV. So going to be everywhere, my friend. Except in Russia. We do not believe in it in Russia, my friend.
You'll have to get VHS bootlegs or video CDs of it there if you want to watch it.
This dirty tramp, Denise Winkelman, will have to come over and sell her little cheekbones on the street until her little jokes disgust me.
You can buy transcripts of it there and act it out. Have people reenact it. It's like sheet music.
We have burned the bridge. We have burned the book.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's been great chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
There you go. That's Denise. As I said, Bougie on a Budget is out now wherever fine comedy specials are streamed. If you have difficulty finding it, just let me know on the social medias that I am on, Blue Sky and the others. Or you can email me at tvguidancecounselor@gmail.com or ken@icanread.com. Or if you have as little as $1 a month, become a patron of the show. It is a huge help for me doing the show, as it's just me. It's just a little me. And if you had $5 or more that you could contribute to the show a month, you would have gotten a PDF of this episode's TV guide, and you could have followed along, played along, agreed, disagreed, yelled at your not a radio, whatever speakers that you listen to this on. Actually, if you guys email me, let me know. I always like to hear A, where you heard about the show, B, what do you listen to this on? Is it headphones? Is it computer speaker? Is it in your car? I'm always just kind of curious after whatever we're on, almost 13 years here. And let me know how your October's going. This is the one month that's usually kind of nice. for better or worse. You doing anything for Halloween? You dressing up? That kind of thing. Anyway, enjoy Denise's special. Do that right now. And then come back next week, because I'll be here. I hope you will too, for a brand new edition of TV Guidance Counselor.
It is the year 2025. A once proud world has been reduced to ruin and despair.